Why talking about QRadar parsing? Well, parsing is something that works in QRadar every day. It's gazillions of events and flows are processed and the rules fires and everything working, so you don't have to worry about parsing except when something breaks. I add a new log source and it's not parsed correctly. Something that was working before, after I did this upgrade, is no longer working. So how do I determine what is actually broken when the parsing is not working? How can I understand the lingo? How can I better call support and say, hey, this is happening and I already did this and check that, and but this might be broken. It could be that, IBM, you need to update your parser because no longer works with this new version of this or that. So in the same way that when you drive a car, you never think about the engine, you just go from place to place. Well, when it breaks and you go to the mechanic, you need to understand what is actually happening, and so that is when you need to know that. So this is an advanced topic, and it's a result of a wonderful conversation that I have with a guy who masters this and probably wrote most of the code for it, Mr. Colin Hay. And my idea is to try to pass along what I learned from that session with him. So when we say that the logs in QRadar are normalized, means that, for example, if I'm writing rule for carbon black, the same rule that worked for carbon black should work with FireEye, CrowdStrike, whatever is the EDR technology. The rule should be the same, regardless of whatever the technology is. The same way a firewall deny is the same as it comes from Cisco, Palo, or Checkpoint, right? In order to normalize that, QRadar needs to understand the actual content of a log. Let's actually take a look at the two type of RFC of standards that QRadar supports. So if we see these two examples that I have in here, let's take a look at the first of these logs and notice that it starts with something between brackets. That's the priority. I always see 13 in there. I don't know why. I don't think it is mostly used. And then the timestamp, and then something that identifies either a host name or an IP. And that is what will allow QRadar to send it to the right parser to be processed, because I know that in that particular host name, this is the actual application that lives. There can be more than one, and more on that later. And then the header for leaf, which is indicate, and is the version. This is leaf version 1. Then the product, the company name, the product name, the version. So you see, all the different components, the stuff that needs to be extracted. But again, this is one of the RFC, and this is the RFC 3164. Let's actually go back to the other event, which is an example of the other type of RFC, which is 5424, and we can identify the difference between the two. Not that that matters much. QRadar knows all this, is because there is that version in there that it was always version 1. It never went beyond version 1. Then the timestamp, and then the same information, right? So that's the way, or the way that the logs look in raw format. So when I'm building a rule, say that, I'm gonna go quickly here to that wizard. When I'm building a rule, I need to specify the condition, the test conditions that are going to be evaluated for the rule to fire or not, for things like, and the event category like this, right? And the event category follows one of the following categories. And again, this have to be normalized. I don't care about what the brand names. All the brand names we need to convert when we write the parser, and we'll see more on that later on the DSM editor. We're going to be assigning them to the right categories and extract the right properties. And so in here, we can say, well, on the high level category is audit, and the low level category is let's try this one, I believe that that matches one of the ones that I have, right? And then when you have that, you say add, and you click here submit, and then that test condition is going to take for an event that when it comes has been mapped to this particular activity succeeded from part of the high-level category of audit, right? And from the event, here back to the event, we need to extract things like the username, okay? And in here is called USR name, and another system might be username. It can be different name, but we need to extract that element. We say that this is a username system, and we'll see that in the DSM editor later. Another important concept is the concept of an event name. An event name is nothing more than a unique friendly name. In the logs might be something cryptic, but this should be typically a friendly name that is unique. It's a unique combination of something that we extract from the payload, that is we're going to designate as the event ID, and something that we extract that is called an event category. And the process of doing these two things in the DSM editor, we'll see it later, and it's called creating a mapping. And for every event that you want to recognize, you need to do that mapping. And if we right click in the log activity on that event and select view in DSM editor, we get to this view, which is telling me that it's parsing these elements: the policy management, the event ID, the source IP, the username, and then in the mapping is what it's doing from this combination of this event ID and this event category. From these two, the mapping produced the particular event name, and also gets assigned a QID, and more on that, a little bit more on that later. If we click on the event mapping and click and type here file approval to look for that particular event ID, we find that here's the actual mapping. And the friendly name that we give is actually the same without these characters in there, a friendlier name, and we specify the low-level category and the high-level category in there, audit, and the severity. And notice that it says this is a QID record. And that's what is going to go into the table, the QID table, and it will be assigned this specific QID. We can actually even write a rule and say if the QID equal this number, and that's going to be a quickly way for QRadar also know that it's related to this particular event. It's another concept that you will come across when dealing with parsing things, which is the protocol. And for most of the things that we will do, we're going to be using the syslog protocol. But if you are retrieving stuff from a database, will be the JDBC. And if you talk to something on the cloud, it's going to be specific for AWS and Azure. They have different protocols. So that is just the underlying mechanism that gets the data into the system to be passed into the right parser. If it's properly identified, it will be put to the right parser. And if the parser is properly written, it will extract the right properties and categories for the rules and the search and the rest of the things in QRadar to work. In this series, we're going to see the next videos. One is when parsing does not work, when you get confused on, do I have the right parser installed, and how, and a simple example of how to troubleshoot those cases. So in the next video, we actually go ahead and purposely put logs that are not properly formatted, and then we'll show you how, and also we'll mention it in this video as well, how to use the DSM guide to see samples of the protocol, to see what is it that the parser is actually expecting versus what you are providing to it. So when parsing fails, the logs are assigned to three categories: sim, generic, stored, and unknown. In the video, we will explain the difference between the three, so you can know better where is it that is not working and why. No conversation about parsing can be complete unless you talk about the DSM editor. It's like hunger and the desire to eat. They actually go to hand in hand together. And there are going to be 2 videos that show you in detail how to use the DSM editor. The video talks about parsing order, and this is all about, you can have in a single system the OS logs and other applications that are in the same machine, and they're going to be a DSM for every one of those. So how does the evaluation can be done more efficiently and make sure that they don't get confused between one another? Happens that sometimes the logs are not sent directly to QRadar. There can be something in between. It can be a firewall, it can be a load balancer, it can be a syslog ng, it can be some other thing that alters the format of the log. So when they get to QRadar cannot understand it. Well, many of those things can actually be fixed, and for that there is the syslog redirect that will be covered on that video. Yet another short video, we're going to show an example in which in the DSM editor, because certain properties require a specific format, we'll show you how not to get confused when you are dealing with that. It's a very short example. And what I think, we may even include one actually for what is called predictive parsing, something that has to do with performance. That's not all. We are going to be putting a video in which we'll show you how you can actually do all the things that are shown in this video series on your home lab using QRadar CE, the free QRadar CE, and there are videos that show how to install that and how to deal with this. So I hope that you appreciate the fact we're going to be putting in a public box folders all the logs and all the elements are in here, and we'll explain in great level of detail how you can make your own lab. And I hope my sincere desire here is that you will learn this concept in a much quicker way than what have taken me to learn. I have been using QRadar for quite some time without mastering this. This is not required for you to use QRadar, but sometimes you can be an excellent driver, but let's say that if you are a Formula One driver, it may not hurt to know a little bit about the mechanics of it, and sometimes you even will have to be the mechanic to deal with these things. So this knowledge, optional, but might be very useful, and we hope that you will enjoy it. And again, thanks to Colin Hay for spending the time to make me understand all this.